Hello everybody. Once again, we will continue the topic, the subject of engineering mechanics. We have completed the first chapter, that is the principles of mechanics and force system. In the second chapter, we are dealing with beams and supports. Earlier, we have had one session about what is the introduction for beams. So we have seen what is a beam and what are the different types of supports for beams and what are the different kinds of beams. So let us quickly have a recap of the earlier session. That is, a beam is a structural member which carries a transverse loading. That is, a beam is a horizontal member which bears the vertical loading. That is vertical, there may be one load or several loads, but the condition is the beam is a horizontal member of a structure which is acted upon by some forces. The forces are generally applied transverse to the axis of the beam. That is, they act vertically. When the axis is horizontal, the loads are vertical. According to definition, we said that beam is a horizontal member. Therefore, the transverse loading is the vertical loading. So, if we apply loading on beam generally vertical. We don't have any inclined loads or horizontal loads. We generally apply loads only vertical. So in this topic we confine ourselves to only the vertical loading. So beams are supported on some supports. Those supports can be two types, that is a simple support or a fixed support. Just when we place the beam just on any support without any fixity, we call it as a simple support. When the support holds the beam, then that support is called as fixed support. Whenever we place the beam on a support, the support offers some reactions. Maybe it may be in the form of reaction or in the form of a movement. So there are two possibilities whenever we apply force. That is, the support can give a reaction or reactive force and a movement which is opposing the movement which is produced by the applied forces. So whenever we apply a force, the force can have two effects. That is, it can give the translatory motion or rotatory motion. That is, it can move the body or rotate the body. Whenever a support is given on the beam, whenever force is applied, then the force tend to move the body vertically downwards or it tries to rotate the body, the beam. So at any end of the beam there are three possibilities: vertical movement, horizontal movement and rotation. We are not considering the horizontal movement because we are not applying any horizontal loads. That is why we disregard this aspect of the reaction. Simple supports. The beam are freely placed rests on support. That is, they are brought and placed on the support without any binding, without any fixity, or we don't attach the beam to the column or support. Then those supports are called simple supports. These simple supports may be of two types: a roller support or a hinge support. When we place a roller support below the beam, the roller support it can move horizontally. That is, roller can move horizontally, but vertical displacement is restrained. Therefore, there cannot be any horizontal reaction, and also it is free to rotate. Hence, there cannot be any movement. Only vertical reaction is possible. Similarly, at a hinge, only rotation is available. There is no lateral horizontal movement or vertical movement. Then, since it is free to move, only there will be only vertical reaction. Here also there is no horizontal movement. Fixed supports. At fixed support, it holds the beam tightly, rigidly. So, since no movement or no rotation is possible there, there will be some reactions and also some internal moments produced. These supports are restrained against both translation and rotation. There is no movement of the beam either vertically or horizontally. Therefore, there cannot be any there is because horizontal movement and vertical movements are restrained, automatically there will be some reaction. Whenever the movement is restrained, whenever the turning is restrained, there will be automatically some reactions to that action. So whenever we leave them freely, we don't restrain, then there won't be any reactions. For force, if there is movement is restricted, then there will be reacting force. When turning effect or turning is restricted, then there will be a movement developed at the support. We have seen what are the different types of beams, that is a simply supported beam, a cantilever beam, overhanging beam, fixed beam, continuous beam, and proper cantilever. We have discussed what is a simple support. Simply supported beam means the ends of the beams are placed on two supports. Similarly, a cantilever beam is only one end is fixed, the other end is free. It is not having any support, it is freely hanging in the air. Similarly, overhang beam, when it is similar to simply supported beam, but the beam extends beyond the supports. That is, it protrudes beyond the supports. So the length of the beam will be more than the distance between the two supports. That protrusion or that extension may be beyond the support on one side or both sides. Similarly, if we take the case of continuous beam, these beams have more than two supports. Here the beam has two or more spans. That is, it has minimum of 3 supports or more. Then it is called the continuous beam. This beam, the supports may be intermediate support may be generally a simple support. The end supports may be a simple support or fixed support. In both cases, it is called as a continuous beam. Similarly, fixed beam. Fixed beams are beams which are fixed at both the ends. It is like a cantilever but fixed at both ends. Hence, at both ends there will be 4 reactions, that is the vertical reaction and a moment at one end, and also vertical reaction and a force and a moment at the other end. So these beams are very rigid. They cannot be solved by the equations of equilibrium. They come under the category of the redundant beams or statically indeterminate beams. The cantilever beam, since it has only one reaction and one moment. Similarly, simply supported beam has 2 reactions and no moments, and also the overhang beam, they have 2 reactions and no moments. We can solve them by our general equilibrium conditions. But these other continuous beam, fixed beam, and proper cantilever, they cannot be solved by using the equilibrium equations or conditions of equilibrium equations, that is sigma Fv is equal to 0, sigma m is equal to 0, because there are only two available equations and we have 3 or 4 unknowns, 3 or more. So since the equations are less than the unknowns, this cannot be solved by using the normal linear applications. So if we go into details of simply supported beam, both ends are simply supported or by roller or a hinge. It doesn't matter. When horizontal force is not there, whether it is a roller or a hinge, it doesn't make any difference. Only in case of horizontal forces, roller or a hinge has different properties. Hence, vertical reactions at both A and B, that is RA and RB, are developed respectively. There cannot be any movement MA or MB because the beam is free to rotate. Here it is, the vertical movement is obstructed by the supports, but by the turning effect is not obstructed or it is not restricted. So there is no restraint to turn. Therefore, these are free to turn. Hence, when there is turning, that is when we are not restraining, there won't be any reaction developed. So there cannot be any movements at A and B. Therefore, here in this figure we have seen MA is equal to 0 and MB is equal to 0. A cantilever beam, one end is fixed, the other end is free, that is hanging in the air. If we see this illustration, the W weight is acting from top, that is it is vertically downwards, and automatically there is no other support which is bearing the load. So the reaction is occurring only at A, that is at the support. Similarly, there will be the turning is restrained, hence there will be a movement, internal movement. We have seen what is a overhang beam. Here the beam is extending beyond the supports. Here on two sides the beam is extending. So that is the case of overhang beam. Fixed beam, both ends are fixed. Continuous beam, there are 3 supports here, that is more than 2 supports. So this also comes under the category of indeterminate beam, because static equilibrium conditions are not satisfied. That is, the static equilibrium conditions, the number of unknowns are more than the static equilibrium conditions. So here comes another type of beam, that is a propped cantilever. That is a cantilever, ordinary cantilever, which is propped or supported at the end. Generally at the end we support. Then here the unknowns became the reactive force, the reaction moment, and also reaction at B, the free end. Now it is being supported. So there will be 3 unknowns and 2 equations we cannot solve. Similarly, now we will see what are different types of loads, because on beams we have generally 3 types of loads which we apply on any beam. That is a concentrated load, or the second one is uniformly distributed load, and the third one is uniformly varying load. These are the generally applied loads, and the third one is very rarely used. So normally we come across either a point load or a uniformly distributed load. So concentrated load, the name itself suggests that the load is concentrated. That means the load is applied through a single point. That is, entire load is applied vertically downwards along a point. That type of load we call it as a concentrated load. So generally we represent concentrated load as a, we represent any load from top showing the arrow generally. So this load we usually represent as W kilonewtons or W newtons. W is capital W. We use capital W for a concentrated load. It is the generally followed notation that we use capital. When we see capital W, we mean that we are putting a concentrated load or a point load. Generally we call it as a point load. Instead of concentrated load, we can use synonymously, we can use a term point load. Either we can use point load or concentrated load. Generally it is not, it is, the point load is used very frequently. Next comes the load called as uniformly distributed load. That is, this load is, the name suggests that it is the distributed uniformly. The load is distributed uniformly. That means the load is evenly distributed along some length. Then it forms a uniformly distributed load. Suppose some load, some amount of load, if we distribute it evenly on a beam, then it will form a UDL. Let us see, let me show an example. Suppose this is a pen. If I place it like this, it is acting through one point. So this pen, entire weight of this pen is acting through one point. So it is a concentrated load. If the same pen, if I distribute its load, all the load, suppose this pen is, let us say, 100 grams. Let us say, so this 100 grams, when I keep it like this, entire 100 grams is directed through the point vertically. It is acting only through one point. Then it is a concentrated load. If I distribute this 100 grams into some 10 centimeters, so each centimeter has 10 grams. So this becomes a case of uniformly distributed load. That is, along this length, I am distributing the entire load of this pen. So this is the case of a distributed load. Suppose there is okay. Let us say a small numerical example. That is, let us suppose weight of 10 kilonewtons is distributed evenly over 2 meters length. There is some load which is 10 kilonewtons. We have distributed it evenly. We have spread it evenly over 2 meters length. Then each meter has 5 kilonewtons of load. So now the load is distributed into 2 kilonewtons along the 2 meters length. 10 kilonewtons is distributed equally along a length of 2 meters. So if we take 1 meter part, that portion will have 5 kilonewtons and the other portion will have 5 kilonewtons load. Similarly, if we take a small portion also, that will have that constant intensity of load. That is why we call UDL as the intensity of load also. That is, it gives the load per some length or load per unit length. That is why in concentrated load we give the weight as kilonewtons. Here in case of UDL, we say that the load is the load intensity, that is load per meter. So we convert the load per some standard length, that is load per meter. So load per meter will give the intensity of loading of UDL. Suppose in this case, if 10 kilonewton load is distributed over length of 2 meters, hence intensity of load becomes 5 kilonewton per meter. So we generally express in terms of load per meter. That is the intensity of load we express. We don't say 10 kilometers in 10 meters or 10 kilometers in 2 meters. We say some kilonewtons per meter. For every meter will be a standard. So for every meter, what is the unit, the load? That is why we call it as intensity of load. So now the intensity of load is 5 kilonewton per meter. Suppose if we consider a half a meter of length, suppose instead of 1 meter, if we consider half a meter, the load will be, the intensity is, we have said it is now 5 kilonewtons per meter. So for every meter there are 5 kilonewtons weight. So for half a meter it will become 2.5 kilonewtons. So depending on the length, we will get the total load. So if we consider half a meter length, then the load on half a meter portion will be equal to 5 kilonewton per meter into 0.5 meters, that is 2.5 kilonewtons. Finally we are getting the total load on the beam. So intensity of load into that distance will give you the total load. In other way, total load by that distance gives the intensity of load. As the load is evenly distributed, load intensity is constant throughout. So if you take any part, the load intensity will be same. The load will be same in any portion for a given length of beam. Suppose if we take some 1 meter length, that load will be same in any portion of the beam. That is, since it is uniformly distributed, at any point, if we take some standard or some constant length, that load will be equal because the intensity is constant throughout. So if you take 1 meter portion and at another 1 meter portion in some other place, then the total load will be same, that is 5 kilonewtons. We have seen that the intensity of load is 5 kilonewton per meter. So if we take, suppose if we take 0.2 meters at some place and 0.2 meters at some other place, then it is 5 into 0.2, it is 1 kilonewton. At some other place also it is 5 into 0.2, 1 kilonewton. So wherever you go, the intensity will be same. Therefore, at any portion for a given length, the total load will be same. We have to be clear about how to distribute a load, or how to calculate the total load using the intensity of load. So intensity of load is kilonewton per meter into the distance is meters. So meter and meter gets cancelled. So let us say, suppose intensity is 5 kilonewton per meter and we have, let us say, a 3 meters distance. Then small w is 5 kilonewton per meter and L is 3 meters. Then W will be equal to, total load is equal to intensity of load into length, that is 5 kilonewton per meter into 3 meters. So 2 meters, 3 meters and meters will get cancelled and we will be left with 15 kilonewtons. So this is the illustration I am giving. Here the intensity of load is 5 kilonewton per meter, length is 3 meters. Then total load is intensity of load into length 5 kilonewtons per meter into 3 meters. So these meters and meter get cancelled because it is in the denominator and it is in the numerator. 15 into 3 will give you 15 kilonewtons. So total load along 3 meters length will be equal to 15 meters. This is how we calculate the total load using the intensity of load. So here in this illustration we have this W kilonewtons along length L. If we convert it into UDL, it will be small w kilonewton per meter. So W is equal to total weight W, that is total load, by L, length. So this entire weight is converted in, is distributed along the length L. So intensity of loading will be W by L kilonewton per meter. This is how we can convert the total load into intensity of load, or vice versa. Next comes the another type of loading, which is called as uniformly varying loading. So whenever there is uniform variation, that diagram will be a triangle. So in our graph, if we see, whenever there is some uniform increase, the line will be a straight line. We cannot get any curve or like that. So whenever there is a straight line, if we take the diagram of that graph, we will get either some triangle. So in this case, we have seen it is giving the triangle is, we are getting a triangular load. So uniformly varying load from one place to another, it is gradually increasing. So it is gradually increasing to some proportion, some ratio. So here if you see, at every point the load is increasing. So by method of similar triangles, we can find out what is the intensity of load up to that point. So if we consider any midpoint, let us say, then this load on the right will be, total load will be half into the length into height, that is the area of the triangle. Similarly at the end it will be half into this height into full length. So this is how the triangular load or uniformly varying load is applied. Generally we do not come across such type of loads in our normal designs. Next we go for the topic, once we apply loads or forces on the beam, what are the reactions? Now what are the support reactions? What is the effect of loading the beam on supports? Here from now onwards we will try to determine the reactions. As I said, the reactions can be of two types, that is reaction due to force and reaction due to movement. Whenever there is some force acting on the beam, there will be some reaction, internal reaction of the support. The support tries to offer some reaction, then only the beam can be stable, otherwise it will collapse. So the internal resistance will offer the internal reaction to applied force and also to the applied movement. So a reaction may be reaction force or reaction movement. These two are possible. Whenever force is applied, we can have either a reaction or a movement or both. So let us see how when we load a cantilever, what are the effects of that load? That is the effect of load on the supports. Since in cantilever we have only one support, that is one fixed end. We have seen that the fixed end, at the fixed end we have both reaction force and also the movement produced, because a fixed end doesn't allow any vertical movement or rotation. It stops the rotation, it holds the rotation, and also holds the movement of the beam. So at any cantilever, at any fixed end, there will be a vertical reaction and also the movement. We have seen earlier that a cantilever, a simply supported beam and overhang beam, these can be solved by using the theory of equilibrium, that is the principles of equilibrium. We have three equations of equilibrium, that is sigma Fv is equal to 0, sigma Fh is equal to 0, sigma m is equal to 0. Since we are dealing with beams, whenever we deal with horizontal beams, we do not come across any horizontal force. Therefore, the sigma Fh is not useful for us. So, we do not consider that equilibrium equation. So, hence we are left with only two equilibrium equations. Two equilibrium equations, that is sigma Fv is equal to 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. So if we see this figure, there is a cantilever beam having a point load at its free end. So automatically there will be some reaction Ra and moment Ma at the fixed end. So from the equilibrium conditions, it is possible to find the reactions and moments at A. Sigma Fv is equal to 0 is the one equilibrium conditions, that is sum of the vertical forces should be equal to 0 for a body or for a particle to be in the state of equilibrium, or all the vertical forces should be equal to 0, and also all the moments should be equal to 0. Suppose if they are not 0, there will be a movement, the beam will be moving, or if there are no balanced movements, that is there are some unbalanced movements, then the beam will start turning. So there should be a counter movement and reaction which is opposing the load, then only the body will be stable. So from the first equation, that is first equation of equilibrium, sigma Fv is equal to 0. Here on the beam we have only two forces, that is one force coming downwards, the other force Ra which is moving upwards. So if we consider the force which is coming down as positive and the force which is going up as negative, because they are in the opposite directions. In our earlier notations also we have seen, when we consider the forces to the right, we consider the forces coming down on the right side as positive. There are only two forces acting on the beam, that is the first one is the applied force W and the reaction of the support Ra. So Ra at A, that is support, we have only one support, the entire load has to be borne by the support. That is why it is offering some resistance, that is it is reacting to the external applied load W. So as the other end is freely hanging, there cannot be any reaction at B. There is no question of any reaction at B because the other end is offering no resistance at all. It is free to move, bend or turn. Considering the first equation, that is sigma Fv is equal to 0, considering the algebraic sum of forces at support A, if we take all the forces at A, then sigma Fv is equal to 0 means we have two forces, that is plus W and minus Ra going up, plus W coming down. So as per our notation, W is positive and Ra is negative. Therefore, we can say W into L W minus Ra is equal to 0, or Ra is equal to W. That is, we are adding algebraically the vertical forces. So two vertical forces are W is, which is acting from the top, that is plus W, and minus Ra. They should become 0 according to the conditions of equilibrium. So therefore W minus Ra is equal to 0 or Ra is equal to W. That is, reaction is equal to the applied load. Here reaction is equal to the applied load. Simply if we consider that a simple layman's version, suppose somebody is carrying, one person is carrying a load. So who will be bearing the load? Entire load will be borne by that single person. Suppose the same load is borne by two persons. That is, through some pole or something, if two persons are bearing the load, then that load will be shared by two supports or two persons. Two persons will feel the pain of the load. Here only one person is there who is bearing the load. That is, one support is there which is bearing the load. Then the reaction should be borne by only that support itself. So whenever we apply any load on cantilever, as there is only one support, that support has to bear the entire load. That is, whether it is a single load or many loads, all the loads coming from top on the applied load should be borne by only one support. Therefore, always we have to keep in mind that the reaction at the fixed support of a cantilever is equal to the sum of the applied loads. Whatever load you apply on the beam, the same amount of reaction will be there in the support. Movements at A. Here there are also two movements, that is, moment due to force, applied force, and also moment due to the internal reaction. Therefore, what is the moment due to external force? We have seen moment is force into perpendicular distance. So if we take a case of if you see this example, this figure, that moment W is acting at a distance of L, that is, force W is acting at a distance of L, that is, it is acting at free end B. It is acting at a free end B. Therefore, this W into distance L will give you the moment at A. So, moment at A is given by W into L, that is the moment due to external force. Similarly, the internal moment will be MA. Since the external force is towards right and down, it is producing a clockwise movement. If I hold this pen and apply some load here, that is, this is right side, here if I apply, it is producing a clockwise movement. Therefore, we can see that the force is producing a clockwise movement WL. Force is W, distance is L. Therefore, moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance, that is W into L. So that is a clockwise movement. Similarly, the fixed movement will be minus MA, that is, it is coming from down, so it will be producing some anti-clockwise movement. So any force which is coming from the down and to the right will produce the anti-clockwise movement. Here this force RA is coming from down at A. This produces a negative or anti-clockwise movement. Therefore, W into L minus MA is equal to 0. MA, that moment at A, is W into L. The reaction, therefore, the reaction at A is RA is equal to W, moment at A is equal to MA is equal to W. So let us see, instead of W, we will see some numerical example. That is, instead of W and L, we will put some numerical values here. So we will see an example here. That is, a cantilever beam of 3 meters length has a point load of 50 kN at its free end. Find the support, reaction and moment. That is, normally when we say reaction, we mean that it is a force. So we specifically say moment. Actually both are reactions, but in normal usage, we say, whenever we say reaction, we mean that force. Reaction due to force, and moment is specifically spelled out. So here, if we see, this 50 kN load is applied on the beam. Since as we discussed earlier, there is no other support to bear the load. There is only one support. So therefore, the entire load has to be borne by that particular support. Here, since support is at A, which is the only available support, automatically the reaction should be 50 kilonewtons. But we'll see in the figure. By our knowledge up till what we have learned, we can say that RA is equal to 50 without any calculation, because the reaction due to in a cantilever at the support is equal to the applied forces. Here only one force, that is 50 kilonewtons, is available, then automatically the reaction should be 50. But we will calculate this as per the procedure. That is, sigma Fv is equal to 0. Therefore plus 50 minus RA should be equal to 0. That is, sum of vertical forces is equal to plus 50. That is, the force coming from moving downwards is plus positive. So plus 50. The reaction is moving upwards. That is why it is minus RA. So plus 50 minus RA is equal to we will see RA is equal to 50. Similarly, following the equation of equilibrium condition, sigma m is equal to 0, we will see W into L minus MA is equal to 0. Here WL is equal to 50 into 3. Due to this 50 kilonewtons at 3 meter distance, we are having a clockwise movement of 50 force into 3 meters distance, that is 150 kilonewton meter. So WL into minus MA is equal to 0, but WL is equal to 50 into 3. Therefore, MA will be equal to 150 kilonewton meter. So reaction at A is equal to RA is equal to 50 kilonewtons. Moment at A, that is MA is equal to 150 kilonewton meter. This is due to a single force. It is very easy, because only one force is there, only one moment is there, that is 50 kilonewton force. Therefore reaction is equal to 50, and moment is 50 into 3, 150 kilonewton meter. Therefore it is very easy to solve the problem of with one single load. But as we move further, we come across several loads. Even then, the solution for cantilever will be very simple, because we have to calculate only the reaction and moment. The reaction will be RA is equal to, or whatever may be the number of forces, we simply add them. That is, the forces coming from top is equal to the reaction. Suppose there are four forces of 100 kilonewtons each, then 400. The reaction will be equal to 400. But each of the force will produce a different moment, because they are at different lengths. So suppose all the forces are at different lengths, D1, D2, D3, then the moment will be W1 D1 plus W2 D2 plus W3 D3 due to the external forces. So the internal moment is equal to MA. So MA will be equal to W1 D1 plus W2 D2 plus W3 D3. This is how we solve for many loads. So before concluding, let us have a quick recap of our today's class. That is, we have dealt what are the different types of loadings. That is, a concentrated load, a uniform load, or a uniformly varying load. A concentrated load is a load which all the entire load is concentrated in at one point, and the load is transferred through that single point. That is why we call it as a point load also. Similarly, when the load is distributed evenly along some length, that load is called as uniformly distributed load. When the load is varying constantly, then that load is called the uniformly varying load or triangular load. A concentrated load is designated generally by a capital W, then it acts along a single point. Similarly, a uniform distributed load, we represent it by this small case W. It is expressed in terms of kilonewton per meter or Newton per meter unit. That is, it is called as intensity of load. So intensity of load into the distance will give you the total load. So a single point load, a simple point load can be distributed into a uniformly distributed load by dividing the load into by the distance. So small w, intensity of load is equal to total load by the length over which it is being distributed. That is, small w is equal to capital W by L. This is called the intensity of loading. So after knowing the what are different types of loads, our interest is to find the reactions in the beam. That is, reactions at the supports. The support reactions can be, as we discussed earlier, that it can be either in the form of a force reaction or in the form of a moment offered to the external moment. So our interest is to find the moments and forces, reaction forces at the support. That is, we call it as support moments and support reactions. We have seen the case of a cantilever. When a load, vertical load is applied on a cantilever, the cantilever tends to move downwards. So that reaction is felt at the fixed end. So the load is trying to bend the beam downwards. So automatically there will be some reaction at the fixed support, and also there will be some moment produced. From the equations of equilibrium, it is sigma Fv is equal to 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. We will be able to find the support moment and support reaction. It is Ra and Ma at the support A. Simply by using the sigma V, that is the sum of the vertical forces is equal to 0. Here in case of cantilever beam, we have seen only one force acting from the top. Therefore, the other force is the reaction force. Only two forces are there. Sigma Fv will become W minus Ra. That is, W is the vertically downward force and Ra is vertically upward force. They are in the opposite directions. They form the they form the unlike forces, that is parallel and unlike forces. Therefore, sigma Fv is equal to 0, W minus Ra is equal to 0. Therefore, Ra will be equal to W, that is reaction will be equal to applied load. Similarly, Ma is equal to sigma m is equal to 0. The sum of the moments at the fixed end is 0. Therefore, the external moment is W into the distance of the beam, or distance at which the load is applied. So, W into L gives the moment WL. Therefore, WL is in the clockwise direction and reaction moment is in the anti-clockwise direction. So, WL minus MA is equal to 0. Therefore, MA will be equal to WL. So, with this, we'll conclude this session and we will see some more advanced problems in the next session. So, before concluding, I want to drive home the point that the load on any cantilever will give the same amount of reaction. So what the sum of the loads, the total, suppose n number of loads are there, simply if we add those n number of loads, that magnitude, that amount will be equal to the reaction, or reaction will equal to the applied loads. Moments, but moments we have to calculate, that is moment produced by every force, that is let us suppose if forces are F1, F2, F3 etc. at a distance of d1, d2, d3 etc. from A, then the moments will be m1 is equal to F1 d1, m2 is equal to F2 d2, m3 is equal to F3 d3. We know according to the Verignon's theorem, the sum of the moments is equal to, we have to add moments algebraically. Therefore, m1 d1 plus m2 d2 plus m3 d3 is equal to ma. So this is how we find the moments and reactions at a support of a cantilever beam. In the next session, we will do some advanced, we will solve some advanced problems, and also later on we will move to how to calculate the support reactions of a simply supported beam or overhang beam. Thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you.